here to talk about Forest Schools and really to promote it as an initiative throughout the whole of the borough and indeed, hopefully, rolling across the country. Forest Schools is something that we've only taken on quite recently, but actually the elements of it are all rooted in really fantastic school practice, not only early years, of which I'm part of, but indeed all the way through. It's about learning outside, it's about building up those skills of confidence, risk-taking, resilience, and an opportunity for children to work outside and to develop that connectedness between people and the environment. So it's a really fantastic initiative and one certainly that I would promote through the school.
Eyes and ears and mouth and nose, head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Our plan this afternoon is to provide a carousel of Forest School activities for a group of Year 1 and Year 2 students, so they range from the age of 5 to 7. Each group will have 20 minutes on one of 3 activities, and by the end of the session they would have done every session.
And I think most people are using activities that have been inspired by our training. So we're making twig families, stick families, which is something that we learnt yesterday, isn't it? And then the children can take them back to school and make little habitats for them and narratives to go with them.
One of my responsibilities is overseeing early years provision in the local authority. So I've been working with the early years teachers for some time, and one of the big initiatives is use of the outdoors, getting children outdoors as much as possible. And around that is this initiative called Forest Schools. So we started to look at Forest Schools about a year ago, and there was obviously an interest in the borough for some Forest School work. So we ran just a taster session, and because Heidi at Hampton Wick here has got this wonderful provision here, this outdoor space, Heidi said we could hold it here. So we had a session here for about an hour, and the teachers just loved it. I mean, early years teachers, this is just a perfect environment for them. And they did lots of activities, and there was obviously the will there to do a bigger project. So we applied to Education Richmond for funding. We applied for £10,000 and got that. And that enabled us to pay, it's quite expensive, the Forest School training, it's about £700 per person. So it enabled us to get the trainers in. I didn't really explain to the teachers at the time that they were actually going to get a BTEC award. So first of all, it was a bit of a shock for them because there's quite a lot of theory as well. But they've thoroughly enjoyed it. They had 2 days in November, and some of that was very classroom based, learning about safety and so on, and doing planning.
Now, would you like your 2 legs coming off one stick? Where are your legs? They go like here, don't they? And do we want them to go into a body?
No.
Okay. How do you want your legs to go?
That.
Like that? Brilliant. Should we do our arms and our legs together? Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shape we're looking for. Let's see if we can find a tree like that. Okay. This was an activity we did in our
One of the
earlier
earliest activities, wasn't it?
And ideally, given enough time and the opportunity to build on skills, we ultimately would like the children to make these on their own.
Yeah.
And a huge part of Forest School is allowing the children to use adult-sized tools, but taking a lot of the risk out of it. So we would use a big leather glove, and we would hold the saw with them. So they would have the self-esteem and the self-accomplishment of feeling like they did it, but actually we do take a lot of the risk out of it.
They got married and happily ever after.
The wilderness is an area of the school forest where the children come once every half term at least, as part of the school curriculum to experience the outdoors. But now with the Forest School sort of scheme, we'll be coming in a lot more regularly. And we also have a group of children who'll come in with me and some other adults, and they'll be here for 4 weeks at a time on a rotation for arts afternoon.
Just found like a body this was all attached together already, so I just chose his head and then drawed a face on it, and then I just attached it onto the body. I found this one piece, so it was just, so I used these as the legs, this as the body that was already stuck together.
In terms of what we've been doing here, we've only been doing it for a few months. Our school has been leading on the training of colleagues through the whole borough. They've done some aspects of health and safety training. They've talked about the purpose, the rationale of forest schools, and because we're lucky in having a fantastic outdoor area, we've actually been able to host it here. So at the moment we have 10 practitioners across the local authority who are being trained at level 3 status so that they can lead the forest school training at their school.
A lot of children, they don't have access to these wild spaces where they can spend quality time in a natural environment, exploring, using imaginative play, and really using that to help their own self-development. And I think it's so integral for the younger children to have those opportunities. So it's great to be here doing the training, also working with some of the children from the local school, and developing those skills with them, and actually seeing how well young children interact with these environments. It's a pity there aren't more of these around London, because I think they are of such great benefit to schools.
Well, what do you enjoy about the forest school work?
Well, I enjoy about that we keep each other safe and that we're doing sensible things. Making the hot chocolate, putting the flags down to keep people safe, and looking at different kinds of trees.
We were introduced to the idea of forest schools, and they made us talk about our most precious memory of childhood. I think that really sums up sort of what we've been doing. They said to us, can everyone think of one thing that you remember doing that you loved when you were a child, and everyone came up with an outdoor activity, didn't they? And I think that is so important.
Taking the learning outside for the children just keeps it so interesting for them, and it keeps them engaged in the activity that you're doing.
And particularly for some children that may feel slightly restless in a classroom environment, may feel restricted when they're outside, they've got the freedom in the great outdoors.
Oh, I
you may find that you get more out of it.
Specific percentage, but they can concentrate 30% longer on a task outside than they can inside in the classroom.
So I'm currently sitting on a bench that the children worked with a local artist to design. As it's close to our pond, the children worked on the basis of designing it. They thought about what animals might be near a pond, and they selected a shark. They also designed it so that when you sit on it, it looks like it could be a shark's mouth and you're within a shark's jaws. The wilderness has been developed over many years. It was, in the very beginning, called the wilderness for a reason. But since then, it's been developed by the school and by the local authority into this fantastic resource. We use it for a range of different things. It can be used to support the curriculum in the school, but also to come out here and to experience the wildlife, and also help us gain our eco qualifications.
I appreciate that. For lots of you, you won't have a forest, you may not have a huge outdoor area. So the question is, do you need to have a forest to be a forest school? No, you don't. You need an outdoor space, you can cultivate it, there are tree grants available, you can hopefully make links with your local parks department and see if your children can use that outdoor space for den building, for making small fires, which are very safe, for having those opportunities to actually learn in the outdoor environment, to, as I say, develop that connectedness. If, however, none of that works and you want to come and use the wilderness area at Hampton Wick Infant and Nursery School, you're very welcome to. Just come and contact us.